This is an informational meeting encompassing the project that's known as CN 1744013 Ronan Urban. MDT and the consultants are here tonight to discuss a proposal to rebuild 3.5 miles of Highway 93 surrounding and through the community of Ronan. Proposed work includes roadway construction of US 93, including reconstruction of First Avenue Southwest as a one-way southbound street and reconstruction of the existing US 93 as a one-way northbound street. Also installation of traffic signals, sidewalks, and construction of a separate shared use, which is a bicycle pedestrian path, which will affect City Park. The purpose of the project is to improve capacity and safety by widening the roadway with additional through travel lanes, installation of turning lanes, and to improve non-motorized travel by construction of a separate shared use, which is a bicycle and pedestrian path along the length of the project.
My name is Shane Stack. I work for the Montana Department of Transportation out of the Missoula office, so they're fairly familiar with the area. We're looking at 2017 for construction. We do have money set aside for the project. We're at about $23 million, so we're hoping to make sure that Stelling keeps it on time and on budget, and if we can do that, we're hoping to be under construction in 2017. So.
My name's Kathy Harris. I'm with Stelling Engineers, and in fact, we're really pleased to be here tonight, and thank you as well for coming. Project overview. Actually, the US 93 Evero to Polson corridor is a 56-mile corridor. I realize you really can't see this map real well, but Flathead Lake is up here. We go all the way down, oops, missed it, to Missoula. That's a 56-mile corridor that has been improved over the past approximately 10 years. The pink portion shows that Evero to Polson area. Within the middle of it is about a 10-mile segment called 9 Pike to Ronan. That segment has not been improved or widened yet. Ronan Urban is a 3.5-mile project up at the north end. But to give you an idea, our project is going to start at the south end at the Jor driveway or Innovation Lane. We'll continue up through town and continue north all the way to north of Spring Creek Road, where we tie in with the new and improved, well, not so new, but the widened US 93 roadway that goes up to Pablo and onto Polson. Overall, the US 93 transportation system was identified that we needed to improve mobility, level of service, the roadway itself, that's the transportation system. This helps improve traffic flow. You know, are you stuck behind a car for 3.5 miles before you can safely pass? Do you end up coming up behind a left-turning vehicle and almost rear-ending them? Those are kind of things like level of service and traffic flow. Also, system linkage and safety. These were all identified previously in the environmental document to say this is what we're trying to improve. We actually have a need for this project, and I mean, you folks drive it every day. You know more than we do as the engineers what the needs are. But this pretty succinctly says it. Okay? The road doesn't meet current design standards. Design and safety standards are not out there. You experience congestion. Okay? The accidents are 3 times or almost 3 times the average per mile as the statewide average for a similar roadway. That's a terrific amount. Similarly, accident severity, which means injuries or fatalities, those are much higher than other roadways in the state. Okay? So those are the safety issues. We also have limited bike and pedestrian facilities. Okay? Want to give you an idea, the road, we talk about traffic volumes. That's the number of cars on US 93 right now. And sadly, engineers, we look at an average across the year. Okay? You know it's much higher in the summer than it is right now. But overall, throughout the year, the average, actually we're using 2009, but it's not much more in our current year of 2013. But the average you see right now is almost 11,000 vehicles a day on US 93. Okay? That's projected to double in the design life of this project. Now that's a ways out, but over 200,000 vehicles per day on US 93 as an average. And our design life is 20 years after we build the road. Okay? So we want to build a road that's going to work for 20 years. We look at specific objectives that we're going to try to fix or improve on the roadway. And I apologize, this is a lot of text, so I'll just summarize it real quickly. Okay? First of all, safety and accidents. Reduce the number of accidents. Okay? I mentioned earlier we are 3 times the state average. We want to reduce that. We know accidents will happen, but we want to reduce the chance of them. Improve capacity. That means make it so the road can carry double the traffic it's carrying now. That typically means more lanes of traffic. So instead of 1 lane going north, we want 2 lanes going north. Okay. Improve the intersections, specifically in Ronan. Okay. There was a comment that we also want to improve it without dividing Ronan. Okay. We also want to reduce vehicle-animal conflicts. Those happen a lot in this area, and it was identified we want to try to reduce those. Improve wetlands, respect the current CSKT culture. And the one at the bottom is rather an important statement. We seek to balance the cost efficiency of this $23 million improvement with safety, traffic operations, environmental protection, which also means protecting right-of-way, protecting people's lands as best we can. We're in the design stage, and this will take us many years. Design should be finished about 2016, possibly early 2017. The right-of-way acquisition, acquiring land from the individual landowners, is expected to begin in 2015 and take approximately 2 years. We have approximately 200 parcels of land that we will be impacting. Some of them we only need to rent a temporary strip during construction. Some of them we need to acquire a large piece of. Some of them we may need to acquire the entire lot. Okay? Right-of-way acquisition usually occurs about the same time as we do utility relocation. So relocations could take 2 years, 2015, they'll probably start. Maybe a little later, they could start in 2016. That isn't determined yet, that's a very floatable date. Construction. As Shane identified, the funding is available in 2017 for constructing this job. We anticipate it will likely take 2 construction seasons. Okay. It's possible it could take 1, but right now we anticipate 2 construction seasons. Okay. Now that doesn't mean 2 years of the road in front of your particular property being torn up, but it does mean 3.5 miles of roadway will be impacted for potentially 2 construction seasons. This is a fairly significant issue because when we have this divided roadway, we don't have the ability to have safe left turns at every driveway. We have to move them out. And we met with many of the landowners to talk about this issue. It really has some big impacts to the south of town. To the north of town, it doesn't have as many impacts because we have large farm frontages. When we come into town, we have what's called the one-way coupling. Okay? We're going to have 2 travel lanes going the same direction. Where possible, we're also going to put in about a 10-foot parking lane. And I say where possible because if you have a driveway or an alley, we aren't going to be able to have that parking area. We're also going to put sidewalks on both sides of the roadways. And that's both US 93 and First Avenue. We'll have sidewalks on both sides. This particular picture does not show a 10-foot wide bike trail, but in some sections of US 93 we'll have that wider trail instead of a sidewalk. Okay? So US 93 itself will be about the same width as it is now. This will be on First Avenue. Those 2 lanes will be heading south. We'll also put a parking lane where possible along First Avenue. And I stress where possible because we have to work around driveways, alleys, and when we get to an intersection, we pull it back. We'll have sidewalks on both sides, in some locations, we put a wider 10-foot path. Now this will be the road that'll be in front of the city park, and we'll continue all the way down through town. And this is a little hard to see again, but in Ronan, we actually propose to have 6 traffic signals. The signals are going to be where they are now, which is at Eisenhower Street, and then up at Round Butte. But we'll have them on both US 93 and on First Avenue. Okay? Also, we'll put signals in at the intersection with Buchanan. Now, Buchanan's the street on the south side of the park. I mentioned the bike pedestrian trail. And at this scale, we've put a bright pink line to show where the pedestrian trail is planned. Starting at the north end of the project, we will match the existing trail that's on the west side of 93, bring it down the west side of 93. We propose to take it off the highway and bring it down 3rd Avenue Northwest, basically splitting the 2 schools. Okay? At that point, our original document, this environmental document, recommended we bring it all the way down 3rd Avenue to Buchanan, run the trail all the way east to US 93, and then run along the right-hand side or east side of US 93 down to Innovation Lane or to the Jor Corporation. We proposed an alternate that would actually run through the park itself. Instead of running down 3rd Avenue, we proposed to bring the trail through the park. One of the big changes would be, as we go into the park, a little hard to see, but this is the current bridge over the stream. We'd actually replace that because we want a wider bridge, a little bit flatter slope going up to the bridge, so it meets a grade that's suitable for a wheeled either stroller or a wheelchair. This is a little steep right now on both sides. So we'd replace that bridge structure and put a 10-foot wide trail atop the current trail. Okay, that's the proposal. One other area that's a little unique to this project is a proposed frontage road. Now this ties back into access. At the south end of town, this is actually Kennedy Street, probably more familiar as between McDonald's and Cinex. Okay. From Kennedy Street up here to just south of Valley Bank, just south of the White Elephant, we propose to put in a frontage road. And that would be how all these businesses on the east side can get on a 2-way frontage road and then come over to an intersection at Kennedy, or up here at this future street will be Harrison. That's where they would get on or off US 93. Okay? This ties back into trying to reduce those conflicts, make it a little safer. That 2-way frontage road would provide you access to the businesses. There are similar frontage roads up in Pablo, there's one in Polson. But it's an area where we can get commercial driveways off of US 93 and still provide access to the businesses. We are aware there is a tremendous amount of underground and overhead utilities in this area. With our project, many of those will need to be buried a little deeper or moved outside of the roadway.